here. I don't archive my videos anymore, so you won't be able to find it here. You're going to have to deliver it or directly go to the YouTube channel that's posted in there. So I'll probably retweet that one. So now, before we even begin, what I want to do is to uh, double check. Um, Double check to see if everything is legit before we start. Let me just pull up another video here. Maserati. Da, 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 da. Nope, that ain't it. I'm doing like a lot of new things on the back end, so just please do not mind me. This whole YouTube shit looks completely different. Let me see my videos. Here we go. Awesome. That's just finally put these fucking PC shits to use. So we changed everything up, and now I got to sit down and actually be at my computer instead of me being in my undies. So now I got to actually be in front of everybody. So let me just retweet this here. And we're going to be talking about two things. I changed my show up. So the show is no longer called What's Going On Stage Block. The show is no longer called No Filter. It's actually called Allow Discussion. I'm gonna throw you right on in here. What's going on, man? I had to do a little bit of changing.
Mm-hmm. What are the changes?
You know, I'm sure you're on YouTube and stuff like that as well. And just I don't like the shit that's going on, man. I don't like the fanboy wars anymore, man. That shit's super annoying.
Getting too old for it?
It's been old.
Exactly. I think that's the primarily part of it. And it kind of like, the more toxic it becomes, the less we focus on the objectivity, especially if we're the type of people who try to learn and grow about the business that we like to pay attention to. So I mean, yeah, there's going to be some bias on our part, but I think yeah, even if we're fans of a brand, there's some of us that behave a little bit more mature than others. What happened though?
I think at this point, man,
no, but
like I don't even
everybody's talking.
Yeah, go on.
But I don't know because I don't really go into spaces anymore. Like your space is like one of the select spaces I go into.
I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put this in the jumbotron so I can make sure this is on point.
And I keep blocking people too, so I don't know how I'm ever gonna grow.
Why you keep blocking people? What happened?
Well, they make it too easy to block them. They say foolish things.
True, you're right.
And only you can customize your experience.
You're right. You're absolutely right because it's, I'm taking my YouTube channel and I'm taking these spaces a lot more serious. Stop making it a sloppy. You know what I'm saying? I want to make it like an experience. So I was a little late today trying to get it to, to look, and sound good. So like when I remember when I look at my content and I can see people like people are listening to me on YouTube and then you just hear the voices and there's no music in the background. So I did things like add music to the background, kind of sweeten the experience, and make it look nice. So that's what I've been doing. Presenting myself online, so you could see who's talking or whatever the case is. I had to do a whole bunch of foolishness though to get this shit started. But to jump in on what we are talking about here, two subjects. And again, welcome to the new episode, the first episode of Allowed Discussions, where we're going to I called it Allowed Discussions to take away the toxicity of this whole thing. Like I'm still going to talk about how I want to talk about things.
Yeah,
but I want to No, I am illicit therapy. That's still going to work. So I still do my you know getting better at life situation. That's still is something that I do. But I'll do that on Wednesdays and any other day.
Okay.
So illicit therapy has changed because I feel like gaming is a therapy to me, but it's not like the legal therapy. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that is you don't need pills for and shit like that. Or getting advice from your friends is not really.
It's an escape.
It's an escape, exactly.
Yeah,
So I call it illicit.
We can call it therapy, but it's truly an escape. Because there's people who have depression who still can't get beyond, even if they play video games. It does its part. It helps us escape, especially if we have like mild depression and things like that. But if you have like very deep depression, it's not gonna help. And that's when I recommend serious therapy and things like that.
And that's why I call it illicit therapy because a lot of these things that I would like to talk about is kind of therapeutic. I noticed that people actually go into these spaces and they're really trying to get some therapy. You know what I'm saying? They're not really, really trying to get they're not really, really trying to put it out there. You know what I'm saying? But it's out there. Like let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? So shit like that.
Yeah, because we're social animals. I mean, yeah. And no matter how introverted
people.
we are, this is an outlet.
Yeah, it helps people, even if you do, because no one's going to sit in the fucking, and it's that dawned on me too. No one's going to sit in the fucking space for, what's going on, Fatal? No one's going to sit in the fucking space for like 4 hours for no reason. Like, let's keep it a stack. So, obviously you're there for it. Ain't that damn entertaining, you know what I mean? So that last space where it was like incredibly long, I was like, So anyway, allow discussion allows the conversation to be precise and concise, and you can't really deviate. Calling it no filter this was too, I don't know, it's too toxic for me. But allow discussion allows us to talk about a specific thing in its entirety. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So 2 subjects here. So again, if you
okay. Why would you consider no filter to be toxic? Because
it's too general. It's too general. You know what I'm saying? And allow discussion to me focuses on the subject that I put after the colon. You know what I'm saying? To me, just like no filter could be any fucking thing. And I didn't want people to get the wrong. I don't know. To me, I just didn't like it. I just decided to change the branding. So what's going on, gaming night? So either way, we are. I'm sorry for taking so long. I apologize. This is like the first episode of Allow Discussion. So welcome to Allow Discussion. The paint it's still it's still drying. So the whole thing looks different. I changed the way that the website looked and everything, or the YouTube channel look, which is in the link there as well. So all of this changed and it looks better. But we got 2 subjects to talk about. And if you want to join in, I am totally okay with you joining in. You just got to be okay with broadcasting your voice on YouTube. Point blank, period. So, that's what that is. And that's how that's going to work. It's a public forum. But anyway, we got 2 subjects to talk about. The first subject is this whole Grand Theft Auto 6. I want to talk about the entire series and Grand Theft Auto 6 in general. And to me, I hate this shit nowadays where people what they typically will do is if they don't like what you say, they put an ism behind your name, or obic behind your name if they don't like what you're saying. That shit's super irritating to me. I feel like what Rockstar has, or what the leaks were for Rockstar, is definitely something that is, if you do like Grand Theft Auto, it would be concerning. And I feel like it was very disingenuous for a lot of the people to say that, oh, you're just mad because there's a chick that's a main character. No one's fucking mad about a chick. No one's fucking mad about a chick. I promise you.
Well,
gay men. Hold on. Gay men like chicks. Straight men like chicks. Chicks like chicks. Gay chicks like chicks. Everybody likes fucking chicks. It's the reason why we're in the state that we're in now. And they get a lot of attention. I promise you it's not the chick situation. I promise you it's not. It was the other things that were being said that was very alarming to a lot of people. So we want to talk about that. And then there's some sales stuff about Sony. They released their fiscal quarter, or whatever the case is. And as I was kind of playing video games, as everybody fucking should be playing video games at this point in time, if you are a gamer and not just having a whole bunch of drama, which there were drama. I'll speak about that tomorrow. There was some Twitter drama. But instead of people actually talk about drama, you should be playing video games. But or to always talk about sales and shit like that. But someone came up to me and they said that, wow, in the quarter of April to April to June, Horizon Forbidden West and Gran Turismo 7 only did 6.4 or 6 point whatever million, which was interesting to me because honestly, they say Sony, I feel like Sony should have been better. You look at Nintendo. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's allow the discussion. Grand Theft Auto. When was your first Grand Theft Auto? I'm sorry. Let me turn on this AC. Shit is fucking hot and I look like a greasy ass nigga. I'm on camera, so I gotta be very mindful of what the fuck I look like. I look crazy, yo. This shit hot. But stage, what was your first Grand Theft Auto and what did you like about it?
Part 3. It was that game that you shouldn't have been playing, but somehow you got your hands on it, and it was just a wild and crazy affair. Like, when you're young, you don't really think too much about how deep the character is. It's just the story played out a certain way. It was very simple, and it just allowed you to have a maximum amount of fun and carnage. As a child, I guess there was something cathartic about it that, in a way that, because even as a kid, you don't really take it seriously. But, it's respective to the actual world that you're living in. It's giving you a parody of the actual world. So, if you watch, like SNL and, it has a lot of comedic writing behind it. Originally penned by like the Hauser brothers. So, it was just something like special. It was stood out from all the other games, and with like the rise of like Metal Gear Solid and the generation before, it stood out as what you would consider back then to be like a cinematic experience, and in an open world, and it revolutionized the way that we what Nintendo brought to light with N64, and the Legend of Zelda did. So for its time it was revolutionary, and still is in a lot of ways, because it always pushes the envelope. They always find a way to never stay satisfied with what they brought with each iteration. So, I'm excited no matter what happens, regardless of all the drama, because no matter what, Rockstar is always going to create drama.
So, I remember playing Grand Theft Auto. Way back in the day. Grand Theft Auto 2. I'm not trying to get in a pissing contest with whomever, but I remember playing Grand Theft Auto 2. And with Grand Theft Auto 2, I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, it would have been really cool if they had if this was like 3D. I thought that shit was amazing. You know what I mean? I honestly thought that shit was going to be like I wanted it to be big. I really did. I wanted it to be large, and I wanted it to be 3D. I have this huge fetish with 3D. I can't help it, right?
Yeah.
Then I played Driver for the PS1. And I was like, see, this is the shit I'm talking about. It actually looks, it's not kiddish. You're not running people over. They're not cartoon characters. This is some realized shit with some reflections. It looks just fucking cool. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this shit is amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then Driver 2 came out. The only thing is with Driver 1, I was like, I wish you can get out of the car. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I wish you can get out of the car. And, well, it made Driver 2. Now, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't shoot or anything. But it was cool to get out of the car and confiscate a car. You know what I'm saying? I thought that shit was amazing, you know? Mm. And so I waited for Driver 3 to come out for the PS2. In the meantime, Grand Theft Auto came out, 3 for the PS2. And I was so much of a fanboy of Driver. I was like, man, I absolutely not. I'm not picking up this cartoony game. Everybody was riding his coattails and shit like that. And I just didn't have any fucking thing to play on the PS2 that wasn't backwards compatible. And there was a whole bunch of fucking demos. And then they had Jack and Dexter that really wasn't an open world game. It was just, you know, I'm like, right. So I went to Blockbuster and I rented it. I got my sister to rent it. And I played it and my fucking jaw dropped. It was so much going on that I've never experienced before, man. It was wild. They had weather changes. You can go as far as the eye could see. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. And I remember
trying the ability to operate a vehicle as regardless of the fact that you stole it. Like you could actually go much further, you know, because Zelda you only had a horse, you know, so this is
here's the thing. That's the thing. Like Driver did the same thing. He just did the actual draw distance was terrible though. It was PS1. You couldn't make it. It was a large city too. So there was they had like a huge fucking city which was fucking which was cool. So they had a big ass city and I actually liked it. Problem here is that, like I said, you couldn't really do anything when you got out of the car except for steal other cars. That was the thing that kind of like was ass, right? But I was like, fine, whatever. But this one was different. You could shoot, you could run away, and they had some RPG elements where you can mash the button. You get better at running. You know what I'm saying? Like you would increase your stamina for running and shit like that. I thought that was fucking amazing. And I remember trying to drive to Luigi's. And the reason why I remember this is I immediately told my friend, which he had a Nintendo console. And what ended up happening with him, I told him, I was like, bro, there was this fucking, the bridge blew up and, this guy told me to drive to this hideout. And then I went to the hideout and then he told me to go to Luigi's. And as I was driving there, it started raining. And as it started raining, I couldn't control the car, and it started sliding, and I slid on the fucking sidewalk and killed like 4 niggas by mistake. And the car flipped over, and I crawled out the fucking car, and it blew up. And then everybody ran to see the wreckage and shit like that. It was a pimp, and this pimp was like, "You a crazy bitch," and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "This game was crazy." He was like, "Nuh-uh." I was like, I swear to God, man, I'm bringing this shit over. We played that game for like 6 hours a day, yo, for a whole fucking summer, yo. Felt like it was never ending. There was some cheats that we thought was real back in the day. It was like cheatcc.com and stuff like that. There was some cheats. And these cheats was saying that you can go to it was a commercial in there. You can go to Carson City. It was like even worse than Liberty City. And they were like, you got to pick up the dice for the courthouse and then drive in a circle 3 times and then all this other crazy shit that was never real. But it doesn't matter. We spent a whole summer trying to do this stupid thing, but we didn't care. This shit was revolutionary. Going to Vice City, there wasn't that much of a change. But what it did is it showed that video games can be serious. And the reason for it to be serious, I mean, the reason why at least for me, I perceived it as being serious, right, was the fact that, green screen, man. Green screen, my dude. Just going on Lincoln. Even a little bit of music in the background, so it won't sound bald-headed. So, so the situation was they had Michael Jackson. They had elements of my own world that was placed into this world, and it was beautiful, man. it wasn't like, and I always, and to be honest with you, I told people this. I actually want to learn how to. I mean, I don't learn. I want to move to Florida, and I'm in the process of moving to Florida. So if anybody got some hits, tips, and tricks on how to fucking buy a house in Florida, DM me. That'll be very much appreciated. But yeah, that game is the game that made me want to live in Florida. That fucking 20 years ago, 21 years ago, that's the game that made me want to live in Florida. But it was just every time I go to Florida, yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. I turn on Billie Jean in my rental car and drive down one of those concrete bridges. Yo, your video's lagging behind your voice. Yeah, I know. It's the only way because it's being streamed on well, I'm using Twitter to actually do the whole thing, but I want you guys to see me. What's going on, Reese? But yeah, I'll turn on Billie Jean. I turn it up. You know what I'm saying? And I roll down the windows, and I'm dropping down one of them stone bridges that don't have like the cable. You know, the cables or support beams and shit like that. And I'm like, Billie Jean. I swear, yo, that game, like, it's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But they took it to a new level. You know what I'm saying? When they made it took it to a new level when they made Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And this game became massive. You had actual actors, Samuel L. Jackson and all. I mean, they had it in another one, but real people that you absolutely knew. And it was just absolutely crazy, man. It was crazy that they had all these fucking actors and shit like that, man. And, you know, it was more realistic acting. It was more of an RPG elements. You had relationships and stuff like that. It was like bigger than all of the Grand Theft Autos that they released and then some. And more importantly, going back to 3, man, they had this really interesting thing with satire. And it was like a parody of, like you were saying, of the States. Now, people, it's funny because, you know, this world is so butthurt about every fucking thing. It was a parody from these Scottish people. And people were like, oh, they're making fun of us. Who get the fucking, wouldn't you make fun of us? We got senators twerking upside down. I would make fun of us too. You know what I'm saying? That shit's ridiculous. It was a parody, you know what I'm saying? And no one, just like comedy in general, I mean, Grand Theft Autos were fun. They had the Rusty Brown's Ring Donuts, you know what I'm saying? Which was a parody of, like, you know, niggas eating ass, like actual niggas eating other niggas' ass and shit like that. But they were acting like it was donuts, you know, shit like that. It was, to me, that everyone got made fun of, you know what I'm saying? And with Grand Theft Auto 5, they really was the pinnacle. They allowed a white dude to say nigga, and no one had a problem with it. I felt like we were progressing. I honestly felt like we were progressing.
Well, I mean, no one's getting by white dude too.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Because they were authentic. They were talking to, they were actually talking to gang members.
Yeah.
And anyone else to get the authenticity of, you know, of that particular culture. They did it for the Spanish, the Dominican, and they were always in the fucking limelight for, you know, doing like really crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? Like boundary pushing. And that's, to me, how comedy should be. Grow the fuck up. I'm tired of everyone being so fucking butthurt about words. It bothers me to no end that everyone is fucking so caught up on actual words.
Yeah, I don't think it's really the word aspect. I think the fact of the matter is that how far do you go until you completely decrease the actual potency of comedy itself, the actual art form. So, I mean, if you're going to clip, I mean, it's just like professional wrestling. They did this much earlier, a decade earlier, to be quite honest. And it actually made wrestling less popular because you couldn't say what you wanted. Stars had to read from scripts. They couldn't just go on the fly and be the professionals that they used to be. I mean, in times, people used to actually speak as the characters that they wanted to be. Comedians used to say the things that they really needed to say. And there's these, and regardless of whether these comedians are liberal, a lot of them are anti-PC. at the same time. So again, comedians are that little last line that pretty much proves that PC is more of a far left concept. So the because there's people still on the left who are anti PC. So the in the comedic world is like the last bastion of that world, and this game is in the gaming sector is a metaphor for that aspect of that of what's the last bastion that's left for us. Now, do I think they could write a good script and water it down a tiny bit? Well, I mean, they already did that for part 5. So yeah, so yeah. I mean, that proves they can. So the thing about it is that if they can do that, then all they need to do, really, to be quite honest, is just make sure that the characters are well written and that they actually, really and honest, stay true to Rockstar form and ignore half the shit people are saying. So I mean,
I don't think that they're going to do that. And here's why.
I think they're reacting to society.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. But reacting to society is the reason why we are as PC as we are now.
Well, of course.
You know what I'm saying? There's, to me, the do-gooders, you know what I'm saying? The moral busybodies. These particular people, they don't put their money where their mouth is for a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? It's for the most blatant and the most immediate. In terms of comedy, right? Mm-hmm. Comedy is supposed to take something. The reason why it's funny, is a little bit of not being comfortable, just a little sprinkle of not being comfortable. You know what I mean? It's a little sprinkle.
The truth hurts.
You know, and it has truth in there. Yeah. So it allows people to kind of, you know, to relate to it and be like, yeah, that's how black people are. That's how white people are. That's how my mom was, whatever the case is. And that's whatever way that it happens, it does that. It does something to the brain, which makes you laugh. You know what I'm saying? But this way that society is now, people are not looking for a laugh necessarily, or they laugh at the wrong fucking things. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things that they laugh about isn't funny, or is at the expense of men. You know what I'm saying? There was something that was going on with this one chick where she chopped off his penis and put it in a blender because she suspected that he cheated on her, right? Mm-hmm. And you'll get TV shows like The View, they will laugh at that shit. Why would that be funny? Now, because if he sliced off her titty, I know, but the society say it isn't. Now, if a man sliced off a chick's titty and threw that shit in the blender, that's what's happening now. Yeah, if a man sliced up hold on, wait, I know, but society is doing that. Not just one person, it's the whole society.
Society is becoming more femme-centric. So I mean, the concept of a man, you know, it's basically the concept of a man paying for his sins in the past. So the next generation of men must pay. You know, that's
the thing. There's two pieces. There's that, like I said. If a man said that shit on a male-centric platform, say he sliced off her titty because I thought that, and threw it in the garbage disposal because I thought that she was fucking cheating, the world would be out to get that dude. Neither of these two things.
Well, yeah, but I don't think anybody would,
are good.
So rash. See, I don't think men would be, even the worst male comedian on stage.
Let me finish on this one. You're absolutely right. And I think people need to know, this is one of the biggest issues, especially with Grand Theft Auto and a woman protagonist. People in society need to understand that men and women are completely different. Period. They're different. They're different entities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that women don't blend into the realms that men go into. It's men.
No, they do. They do. They absolutely do. Yeah. There's not even a real but to it. They can, they do it their own way. You know what I'm saying? They do it their own way. There's a lot of statistics that back it up. But since you said there's this society is very femme-centric.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Anything.
There have been. So this game is in Miami in the 80s, right?
I don't know, but I don't think it's in the 80s. I just think it's in what we know is in Miami.
Okay, but
or
in
Florida.
truth, without any jest, there actually were female drug lords in the Colombian cartels. So I mean,
I don't think people have a problem. No one. So the argument is that
I'm not talking about you saying that. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying that. Go on. Let me let you finish.
No, I was just saying that because like a lot of like, okay, I'm not saying that it's any people that we know or anybody in the actual Twitter sphere or anything like that. A lot of us were saying that any controversy of this idea would be quite foolish, you know. But there are people who, and I would wager a bet on this, that would complain about this. That male spaces are being overtaken by female characters, blah blah blah, the whole 9 yards. And so the of course it's a vocal minority, but it's loud enough.
You know? Is it not valid though? Is it not valid?
In what context?
What you just said, there is no other context than the truth.
No. I mean, do you mean for the?
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you a question.
The
male space is being infiltrated by what you just said. What you just said, is it not valid?
Well, I mean, that's the whole concept of inclusion, isn't it?
It's false inclusion, but I'm asking you: is it not valid? Is what they're feeling? Is that not valid?
I mean, to everybody, it's valid and it's relative.
I'm asking.
It doesn't
okay,
mistake
so
the controversy.
Your answer is it's valid
on a subjective
to somebody
on a subjective level.
On a subjective. So
it's
why demonize the people? Why? But why demonize people that feel like they're being infiltrated or their spaces are being taken over? That's what society is doing. They're demonizing these people.
No. Because
here's the thing.
I just gave historical context to why I was saying that. If there was no historical context,
no, I know, but I'm not. This is a conversation between you, me, and the situation and what we think. Yeah. Right. So I'm not looking for
Yeah, but I'm going to be the guy to do that.
Study or whatever the case.
That's the problem. I'm going to be the guy to do that.
So I'm trying to keep you focused with this particular conversation.
No, I am. I'm just
why are they? But here's the thing: in this situation, why are they demonized?
Well, we're living in a time that anything that doesn't promote complete equality, and in its I guess in its just due place, depending on who you are. In this case, I think it's valid. Is considered to be a threat to people who want the space to be the way that it used to be, a boys' club, and it's no longer that way. I mean, for if we look at actual console sales, the amount of women buying video game consoles and playing video games is increasing at a rapid rate. And as I was saying to somebody else before, forget Gen Z, we know that the female demographic is growing by leaps and bounds. But by the time Generation Alpha comes, it's the chances are that the female demographic could take would comprise a very good chunk of console sales for and PC game sales. And notable usage between certain games where you share male and female characters, have full customization, things like that. And again, there's going to be a lot of choice-based games. So, I mean, this is going to lead to an evolution of course, RPG mechanics even further into a lot of games, or soft RPG mechanics. We've already tested this with 3 men in Grand Theft Auto 5. So, I mean, Assassin's Creed.
I don't feel like, but here's the thing. Yes. Let me say this because I want to make sure I cut out the fluff here.
Yeah,
or get to the point, brother. The situation is this, right? These people are wanting inclusion.
Yeah,
and all these companies are following inclusion.
Yeah,
at the expense of, shoving out a demographic. You know what I'm saying? That they feel like it's lopsided. So here's
I think
the situation.
Okay,
let me finish. there, what's happening there is that there is a vocal minority that is complaining about them not being inclusive. I can't wait for tomorrow, but the company not being inclusive. So they're asking or demanding that these companies follow suit, no matter how large their demographic is. Right? That's what they're asking for. And when it comes out, um, it's at the expense of men being shoved out of their own spaces. And that's what's making people. It's not that they don't like women, because obviously they do. Everyone, like I mentioned before, loves women for one way or another. But here's where the slippery slope happens. This is what I wanted to ask you. Usually, people create art based off of their life. You know what I'm saying? If they had a miserable life, their art is going to reflect that. If they were abused, their art is going to reflect that. If they had a great life, their art is going to reflect it. If they want to be somebody else, their art is going to reflect that. But what this marginalized minority, right, is doing is it is stifling art. The artists can't be what they want to be, you know what I mean, or talk about what they want to talk about because of the outrage. And that's where I feel like the line needs to be drawn, personally.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can definitely empathize with that. You know, of course, being a male and stuff like that, but the the again, women make up 80% of the consumer base, and we're living in a capitalist country. So I mean,
It doesn't matter. I'm talking about how you
hold
feel.
on.
I know, but I'm talking about how you feel. I like those statistics. I don't care about those statistics. I'm talking about how you feel. I mean,
No,
you could
but how
caveat
I
the
feel,
statistics based off of.
how I feel is basically, I actually do follow those things. So I mean, it does add into how I feel. I tend to think about those things based on the logic.
Make sure you add yourself into it. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds like you're giving me statistics and
No,
avoiding putting
no,
yourself into it.
no. There are people in this world who are that way, though. That's just how it is. You know, the thing is that, like, and I always was when I remember I told you when I was growing, you know, on the internet first, I was on VG charts. I was talking about sales. Like, I was actually looking at, you know, the actual you know, graphs and things like that, like, and talking to people at games simultaneously, which is one of the reasons why whenever we get into these sales discussions, I tend to be involved in those. I don't just randomly generally just talk about just games full out unless it's just, you know, like something that I enjoy, but I don't really get too deep into it unless it's like a review. But as per this whole situation, I mean, as a man, okay, what can I say? Yes, when women do tend to come into male spaces, the dynamic of the space changes. This goes with anything, you know. It becomes accommodating, so that you know, you know, in a lot of cases, so that she can be included, and you guys can enjoy whatever whatever you would normally enjoy along with her, because she likes what you're doing. You know, it's how long can you keep that space, you know, how do you say, you know, locked off, you know, keep that, you know,
You broke up
sorry.
there. There you go.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
there you
got a
go.
call.
There you go.
Yeah, so there's a, you know, if there's like a little glass ceiling and stuff like that, it makes it hard for women to make progress if they even get, once they get in, because they have to work twice as hard to be taken seriously.
So what are you trying to? So what are you trying to say? Can you consolidate what you're
Yeah,
saying?
I can consolidate it. I mean, men, especially if in situations where, because okay, women tend to, going into male spaces, tend to want to enjoy a lot of the things, and it's not all women, but as generations grow in gaming, it seems to be that more and more are wanting to. It's not like a separate place. anymore so much. It's just like watching anime. It's a lot of, back then it used to be a lot of nerds, D&D, a lot of male nerds, Star Wars, Star Trek conventions, a lot of male nerds. These conventions have a lot of women in them now. It's completely cultural. It's completely changed. And when these things that were, male nerd in houses and stuff like that, eventually become popularized, it opens itself up to women. I mean, look at reading books. I mean, a lot of women read a lot of books. Back in the day, there was a time when even those things were off limit to women, and men were the ones.
Okay, so that's what I'm. What are you trying to get to? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I need to figure out
the fact that a lot of these spaces that it can be actually dealt with in a unisex fashion. If there's a place in the real world where you can actually make a story or document a situation, I don't think that you can, how do you say, I don't think you can hold women out of it for so long. You can only hold them away from it for so long if they find it interesting. And if they're capable of doing it, I guess a lot of men want to have their own safe space, and that shouldn't be chastised, because yes, there's
but here's the thing. Let me now, because it's taking too long to get to the point here. So I want to say this: if you're using the argument that women have been pushed out and I mean, there's a glass ceiling and they can't, or they're not being included in the situation.
No.
And there's a glass ceiling and no one wants women to be in. Okay, but they can be included under the pretense if they create the fucking item.
Yeah, that
if they want to be included, if they want to be included so badly, then you make a game. I don't understand what's the problem with that one. You make the game if you want to be included in something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, if I made a club with alcohol, and if I said only men, for whatever reason.
But there's plenty of women that are already doing that, like Uncharted.
I'm specifically talking about this particular subject. If I made a bar and said just me, just men, this is a man's space, this is my bar, I want to just have it like this, right? That's my creation. If you don't like it, make your own. But the thing is, women like certain things and they function differently. This is why I was mentioning it before. Yeah. They function differently. The only thing that's happening now is that women, and I'll talk about this shit tomorrow, a lot of women nowadays are narcissistic. They want to be included in there just to be included. And a lot of the time, especially since they want to be in the gaming space, there are a lot of involuntary celibates, right? And they'll go into these spaces to get the attention from any fucking thing. Doesn't matter what the fuck it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at me. I'm going to show my fucking titties, but talk about I'm trying to get a platinum trophy. What the fuck does that have anything to do with that? So there's a dynamic with women that needs to be discussed as well. You can't use these statistics and then take out the woman nature. You know what I'm saying?
No,
there's more. I know, but there are women and there are women spaces that they have their own spaces. As a matter of fact, men don't function like women. We don't care about their spaces.
Men do not generally want to be in their spaces.
I know, because we are functionally. That's the obvious.
That's the thing. Like it's not really about.
So why do they want to be included in something that if we don't function the same way? You want, not only do you want the attention of that space, but then you want to reconfigure it for yourself.
Well,
changing the whole dynamic of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you already had spaces. Women had the fucking TV game on lock. They had it on fucking lock. There's so many different. There's all of these stories, or what do you call it? Soap operas and The View and these talk shows and all this other shit. They had the whole daytime locked. No man wanted to care. But what I'm saying is that I don't understand why society will say that, oh, he's wrong for saying that I don't want necessarily a girl in this particular situation, especially when there's a medium that generates disbelief, right?
No, but I said that
There's
was completely subjective. That
what's
everyone's truth is
subjective.
subjective. The actual truth that you feel is subjective
The,
to yourself. Nobody can tell you that you're right or you're wrong.
the problem is society can coerce people to believe that they're right or wrong.
Yes, society, and we've now entered a state of a femme-centric society. So the concept of it is that if a person says out loud these things and they're confronted by society, remember, if you say these things out loud, there's going to be a response. Okay, we have freedom of speech, but we do not have freedom from response, you know? And so the thing about it is these guys say these things out loud and then they get dogpiled, you know, but they're saying it what they feel, and if people don't like it, of course, that would be on the conservative end of things. You know, that's that. If we could all just have, if the way I would see it is to have an actual proper debate about between a man and a woman, about male spaces and how it makes men feel to not have any place to go. You know,
they don't says the society doesn't give a fuck about a man and his space.
Wait, hold
you know
on,
what I'm saying? Because
that's what I'm.
But you're gonna have to go to the point, man. Because I'm trying to keep it.
I did make a point.
Together.
I literally said I would like for there to be an actual debate about between men
and I responded to your response, and you cut me off to say, hold on, when you already made your point. I totally agree with you, especially having a fucking dick. I want my own spaces.
Yeah.
There are some things that women don't understand about men and vice versa.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would never, ever, ever, never want to be in a conversation where a woman is talking about her menstruation cycle. I don't give a flying fuck about that. I don't understand it. They like talk about that shit. Girl, oh my gosh, my stomach was tight the other day. What's going on, girl? Shit, my cycle came on at the full moon. Mm-hmm. I heard that shit all the time when I was younger.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that, man, but here's the situation. Let me finish. The situation is this. Men, I don't know if it's just women. I don't get it. I don't necessarily know. But I could guarantee you, because everybody wants to be up a woman's ass at this point in time because of what they can give them, whether it be sex, whether it be attention, or whether it be money in terms of the corporations and shit like that. So everyone's bending the fucking knee to this femme-centric environment. You know what I'm saying? The reason why this shit bothers them so fucking much is because it's taking attention away from them. Let's keep it a fucking stack. That's what's really happening in this situation. There's no man clamoring to fucking want to be on a talk show or whatever the fuck they do, or makeup tutorials. We don't give a fuck. That's your space. You got that. Men and women are fucking different. And like I said before, if they want a space, create it. Don't. Yeah, I mean they did. Don't bullguard. No, they didn't. They did not though. They are telling men. They are telling. I'm not done yet. They are telling men. Right? They're telling men to say, "Oh, you're wrong for creating a male character. You know, you're so self-centered," or whatever the case is. Make it more inclusive. And now it's pushing men completely out of a situation where I have to do it to shut these bitches up. That's what's going on.
Can I say something now? But yeah. I can understand. I can understand your frustration and your sentiment. The thing that
what's going on, J1?
There were movies that already had. I think Bill Burr recently had spoken on this about the WNBA. But the thing is that the situation with there was a movie, I think it was Charlie's Angel, the remake, right? They made the remake, and the director, she had blamed men for not coming to see the film, and I would attribute the answer to that to how Bill Burr answered it as of late, because she was saying is basically sexism, that men wouldn't go to see a female.
H2O, I'm gonna let you go as soon as block finishes. Go on.
Yeah. Yeah, and she was basically talking about how men were sexist because they wouldn't go and see her film. Not that the film isn't a classic. It's just I don't know. I guess there wasn't any appeal. But the thing is that it just didn't happen where men went to go see it. So Bill Burr said that a big problem with the WNBA is that not that men are not going, it's that women are not supporting it. If women want to see these sports, they'll go to those games. I mean, women go to see NBA stars. They go to see basketball. They go to see football, whether it be on dates or sometimes even by themselves. They watch men, play a lot of time, and a lot of women who are involved. There's still women who watch the WNBA, and there's men who watch the WNBA. It's just not in enough numbers.
More men watch the WNBA than women. It's that show.
No,
so I'm gonna say this, right?
And so the thing about it is, in the end, how could
be mindful? Be mindful that somebody else is trying to speak as well. We're going.
Yeah. You can't be blamed for. That's not something that you can actually blame men for. And I totally agree with Bill Burr on that actual point. More women need to support these things if they want them. So, men are going to support what they support, and we don't make up the majority of the market. They actually do. So when they actually spend their dollar, they have a very dominant hand wherever they choose to focus. So, I mean, if they don't choose to focus on the WNBA, that's saying something. That's all I'll say. But,
That's why I cannot wait for my illicit therapy episode tomorrow, because I believe that this is sheer narcissism. I want to be at the center of everybody's fucking world. You know what I'm saying? I want to be the star of the show, and if I'm not noticed, I am pissed, and I'm going to shame you for it. H2O, what you gotta say about this? About the whole Grand Theft Auto 6 supporting the female character and being more inclusive, quote unquote.
I think it was bound to happen. Honestly, now companies are trying to pander to that group of people on Twitter that always want to cancel anything and anyone for any number of reasons. I knew it was gonna happen eventually. I think that once a company builds itself the way like the company Rockstar made itself with Grand Theft Auto, and you start trying to change the foundations that like made who you are today, it's gonna really impact how your game is sold. A lot of people are saying I've seen some tweets of people saying, "Oh, that game is gonna be mid." They can feel it, they know it. I'm like, well, we haven't seen any footage yet, but it's something that honestly I knew it was gonna happen. Um, if if the thing is, if they had like not like had these like ethics departments and whatnot, it would not they would avoid this kind of stuff. But at some point these people always get to the top and things change. Oh, you need to pander to this group of people. Even it's the same thing across multiple companies, not just video games, for example, they tried making a certain character, I think a Spider-Man, saying that they need a handicapped version of him, right? And the guy's like, well, one of the artists said, well, people don't want this. People want to be like Spider-Man, and they look up to him because he's capable of doing these incredible things and whatnot. I'm just citing an example. And the guy giving him the work was like, well, I don't believe in this either, but the people at the top want this. See what I mean? Like, none of the people who are working on this believe in this, but they have to if they want to get money and get paid and whatnot. They're getting rid of the frat boy culture in that workspace. Sure, there could be like it could be like Blizzard, where like the CEO was in on the sexual assault and the allegations and whatnot. But I believe that video games have always been a male dominated space.
Because women did not want to be in that fucking space.
Yeah, they did not at all.
They did not. They thought that we were lame for for a long time.
Because it
They
was
thought
associated
that
with nerds.
it doesn't matter what it
No, I'm
was
just saying
associated with it.
back
I
then
know,
it was
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They did not want. They didn't even fuck with dudes.
Yeah, but nerds
that
most
fucking
men didn't want to be
did it.
involved in it.
You know what I'm saying?
Most actual like men didn't want it. Was video games was much smaller. It's grown because it's generationally become a part of culture.
And let me say this, right? Because let's keep it a fucking buck stack, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
People fantasize about wanting to be better than what they are. You know what I mean? How does it feel to be Jin Sakai for a guy, right? I had no fucking problem being an Asian dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sure, it took a little bit out of the penis department, but I did think about like how would it be to be Asian? You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking. You know what I mean? I was like, maybe it got a smaller dick, but I mean, look what he's doing. He cutting niggas' head off. You know what I'm saying? But I would never be like, I want a black samurai. I don't care. Like
you're
I want
to. You're a normal person.
But here's the thing, though, right? Women, right? Look at women, for instance. They want to be fucking Beyonce or Rihanna. They will copy them completely
to the core, man.
They have Rihanna. Rihanna did some nasty shit. Maybe she took an antibiotic afterwards. But this chick had a mango. She dipped that shit in the ocean and ate that shit. And because that shit looked trendy, all the girls were sitting there eating these fucking mangoes in the ocean. So I'm like, ew, people be peeing in this shit. The fuck? But here's the thing, though. People are going to fantasize about being what they are not. So if they make a buff ass fucking dude in the game, that's because that's the power fantasy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There ain't anything wrong with it. And that's the problem with the situation. You know what I'm saying? When people are trying to create art, there's these marginalized groups that are literally telling these guys and girls, you cannot do what you want to do. You got to answer to fucking me because it offends me. And that needs to go. Stage as a dude. XY chromosomes and everything else that comes with a dude, you should be advocating for dudes to keep their fucking spaces. I don't want to hear no reasoning as to what that they don't have reasoning. They don't have a logic other than the fact that I just want to be included. Like, it doesn't make sense to me when I hear a guy literally be like, well, I want to be more inclusive and shit like that. You are...
No. I didn't say anything about me.
I know you didn't, but the way... That's why I'm trying to get... I'm trying to get you to say shit about you. And how you feel about it. I already know what the world thinks. We all know what the world thinks.
I think that's a very big reason why I don't think I would be a very good person to talk about things, as a personality. Because the thing is, I tend to more so analyze things.
Okay. I mean, I get it. I'm analytical myself. Like, I love to be analytical. I have no problem having these conversations.
Emotional over. That's the thing. Like, I look at this situation. I see. Yeah, as a man,
Do you like video games?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So what happens if they just completely change video games into something that you do not want? What are you gonna do?
If they change
your logical explanation from what I can gather, what your logical response would be to, I don't want to play games anymore.
I mean, that's a black and white, like 0 to 60 type of thing. Like, what type of change?
Well, we already experienced it.
They censor a lot of
H2O.
stuff. They don't let you play as the male characters because you have to play as female characters. Things like that. You can't have your character be buff. You have to play as plain characters. That's what they're doing. That's literally what they're doing.
No, I understand what you're saying, but okay, when we actually break it down, down to the brass tacks, do we actually play video games for the challenge, or do we actually play it for the story primarily?
We play it for a myriad of reasons. For anyone, escapism. I know, but that's the thing. That's what you are when you're too analytical about shit. When you're too analytical about shit, man, you're taking the feeling out of this thing.
I literally.
You're asking a lot, but you're a grown man, and you've made it through life this far.
Yes.
You know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yes.
Like, you know what it is. So, like, here's the thing. Do you play video games? What do you play? How about this? How about you ask your own question, yourself your own question? What do you play video games for?
Well, I play video games because, I mean, it's a part of who I am. I mean,
no, that's not a sufficient answer. Why? What reason are you playing video games for? Part of who you are. I don't know what the fuck that means. Nor do I know what your
for
enjoyment
a challenge.
for a challenge. There we go.
You know, to sharpen my skills, to do something new. I mean, look at a variety of different puzzles, different types of gameplay styles, to actually like broaden my horizons, to see something new on a different medium, because video games are now the new medium as it has evolved. From a pure game standpoint, it's now an experience. So the thing is, now you're actually falling into the skin of characters you could only read in books or watching movies and watch somebody else play as. Exactly, and so you know, it's getting closer and closer and closer to where the experience is going to meld with us. So the thing is that like immersion is a very big thing for us, and that is you know, one of the reasons why I primarily focus on Sony. I like Sony's games, you know, and you know, I love Nintendo, but it gives me a pure gamey feel. That's one of the reasons why this is the reason why before Sony got into the industry, remember when I told you, gaming was you know, seen as something for kids back then. You know, it was seen as something for nerds. You know, Sony was the one who changed the perception of gaming to be something everybody could be involved in. You know, like, you know, when they changed the media format, you know, and stuff like that with the PlayStation, and Hideo Kojima made Metal Gear Solid, and we got these cinematic games. You know, that's when it changed to computer entertainment. I mean, and Sony had already called themselves that from the very beginning. But you know, the whole situation, you know, for me as a person, I've evolved with games, and much like, because remember, we're a millennials. We maybe not H2O. Maybe H2O looks like he's probably Gen Z from his picture. But am I correct? Am I correct, H2O? You're Gen Z?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna be.
See what happened? You're not being quick enough, man. People are zoning out.
No, he was muted.
Mm-hmm. He said, "What? What happened? What's that?" That's what he.
What happened?
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was reading a text message. It was urgent. Sorry.
No, that's fine. We multitask. That's how our generations work.
Yeah.
we don't have our attention spans. You know, that's nothing new. You know, millennials, Gen Z, we share the same problem. So the thing, you know, no, but I think that's pretty much what it's going to be, and that's where the starting point where you guys basically got into gaming. You were already into the immersive world, so that's what gaming is for you. But for us, it goes a little bit further. For you guys, you have to delve into indies to actually go back and see the things we grew up with, the evolutions.
Well, the thing is, I went back, and the thing is, when I was in Africa, I went back there and I played like the old games, like the PS1, PS2, like the old games. I played games on the computer, Y8. I played the old Nintendo games. I've played a few of the old Game Boy games. I played a little bit of everything, and honestly, I see where the love for like the old IPs comes from. The old games were amazing at the time, you know, when I was a kid. Now I just always need a good story, amazing gameplay, graphics, and all that. I'm like, no, not really. You know, every now and then I like to play those app games that don't have a story, just, you know, throwing knives and stuff like that. It doesn't need much, but like every now and then I will want a game with a deep story, great character development and whatnot. And it's its own world, you know. It's because when I'm done work, right, and I've talked to customers, and I've had to look up what's going on in the news, and it's all terrible. I want to escape. I want to have my own place where I can, you know, think of something else, of great stories, and just forget that like I'm in this place where like everything is going bad all the time. The news is always saying it, but like there's this other place where I can just have fun, be in the zone, and, you know, be a winner for once, you know.
Well, here's the thing, right? You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the problem, right? Because when people used to make games back in the day, and your answer, Block, is, and look, I love talking to you. honestly, because you give me this, you fire me up. You know what I mean? So don't take how I'm saying things
Yeah.
in a literal sense. When I get passionate about shit, I get loud. Shit, I'm black. That's how black niggas do shit. We get loud. You know what I mean? When we get passionate.
Yeah.
So don't take that as, you know, me like losing my shit. I'm really not. I'm pretty like chill right now.
Gotcha.
But here's the thing, right? The answer that you gave me was full of cap. I will say that. I played for the challenge. Did you play Stray?
Me or
No, I haven't played it yet.
Oh,
You haven't played it. Have you played Detroit Become Human?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes.
Okay. There ain't no challenge in that damn game.
No, but I stated a multitude of things. I did just state one thing.
I know, and that's the thing. I say you, not in general. So you say that you go for the challenge, and most of the shit that you said was basically
said preliminarily. The key things we look for is gameplay and challenge. But as things have evolved, we've gotten to it experiences now. So where games
it's like a movie now.
But here's how you're doing it. You're saying as we got older, but I'm asking a very simple question.
Yeah.
What are you going to games for right now, currently?
Me,
I have to keep cutting off the fluff for the question. So why do you go to games?
Gaming for a multitude of reasons. I'm not like a Madden and if I was.
I get it. So list the words, just words, no sentences, just words as to what brings you to it. Challenge, graphics, whatever, those things. I'm trying to get to the meat of it.
Because the thing is, I couldn't actually just state it in one word because there's too many. There's too many different types of games.
We'll try, please. Please try.
There's adventure. There's action.
Yeah, but you're stating multiple words as well.
No, he's saying adventure, action. I'm saying per multiple subject. Whatever you're saying, list a word to describe the pieces of why you like gaming. Or unless you want me to give you an example.
Or the primary piece, I think, what you mean to say.
Primary piece, whatever you want to call it, however way you want to slice it.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to break it down today, you know, I think it's, we'd have to say at this point, if I'm a Sony gamer, it would have to be for experience.
What are you a gamer of? What is it? What do you mostly playing on? PC, Xbox, Switch, PlayStation? What do you mostly play?
Primarily PlayStation.
Okay.
The thing is, I have an Xbox and I have a Switch. So
ultimately, is since you are a gamer,
yeah.
What is the thing that attracts you to games? Challenge. That's what I said earlier. So challenge is the thing that you're looking for. That's what you say.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, graphics play a huge part, right? Also, art style plays a huge part. Animations play a huge part for me. Exploration plays a huge part for me.
Yeah.
Those are the four things that will draw me into any fucking game. If you got four of those things, I'm with it, right? I'm totally with it. And I love it. It's very simple for me. I'm not trying. Look, and a lot of the times, what I'm looking for, sometimes, if I can add stuff that kind of that will deviate from those four things, is a power fantasy. Characters that are really powerful. Characters that are going places that I want to go to. Like, I used to never be able to travel. So I used to play video games to go to places that I would never go to. Like, ever. I'll never be able to go to. Beaches and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of the exploration. And again, I like to play games where I can relate with the character. And typically, it's male characters.
Yeah.
But here's the caveat to that. My top games of all time are all female characters. Female main character or main character protagonist. Old school Tomb Raider. You know what I mean? And it wasn't for like the looks either, you know, contrary to it. I just liked the entire character. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I thought she was really cool. And most people did. And she actually got a lot of female gamers in the game. And even though that game was hard as nails, man, that was a hard fucking game. And females pushed through that shit to play that game. And if they didn't finish it, they still acknowledge the character, right? Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn, love Aloy, love me some Aloy. Gravity Rush with Cat. You know what I'm saying? But notice all those games have those that feature of great animations for the main character.
Yeah.
And all of them have exploration. So that's what lures me to play in video games.
Yeah,
you know, those particular
you,
things.
I named multiple things as well.
I totally was challenged and then beaten around the bush about some sort of nebulous concepts. That's what I heard. From what I could gather from the words, from what I can gather,
4 things, I believe.
Right, but from what I can gather about your word vomit is challenge. That was it.
No, that was just the first thing I said.
So what else is there?
The fact that I said multiple things was
all right. No, but what else? But okay, so cool. All right, that's fine. Let's say I'm wrong. Challenge and what else?
The actual, like, of course, as I said, I'm primarily a Sony gamer, so I like to explore. I like a good story. I like
the open world, basically.
I prefer semi-open world because the thing is, open world has the game has to be done properly for me to like open world.
Okay.
Yeah. Because with what happened is with the Ubisoft style that has taken over the industry, it's become something that has become formulaic. So it's to get to a very like important part of the game gameplay wise, you can actually just focus on
you got some noise in the background, bro, whoever that is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go on, please.
It's as long as they focus on the gameplay, the fun factor. People don't talk about that anymore. That used to be a big thing with reviews. Fun factor was a major thing. Replay value. These things are a very big piece of the puzzle. And I play a lot of these Sony games a lot. Like, so to me, a lot of people complain about them being one and dones, but they tend to have a lot of replay value for me.
So would Elden Ring be a good game for you? Do you think, or have you already played it?
I mean, are you a fan of Sony games?
God of War, Spider-Man, yeah.
He asked you if Elden Ring would be a good game for you.
Yeah, I mean, in the vein of what Sony makes and has funded, Demon's Souls was the first game. So I mean, it would fall right in line. Yes.
Okay. So now that we got the female protagonist out the way, because I wanted to make a strong case and argument that I feel like men should be allowed to want to have a character that they can look up to. You know what I'm saying? Or they can feel they can relate to. And I feel like men, we're not picky when it comes to that shit. I feel like we're very simple when it comes to what we want. And we typically aren't doing the complaining. We're not screaming. We're not screaming like, "Oh, what about us? Please, bring us in there." It typically isn't us.
No, and that's that. Gaming has always been us. It's always been built around us. Now it's we're not included enough.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the slippery slope that they would try to use. Whatever this marginalized group is, they'd be like, "Oh, the same thing happened with slavery. It's like this with segregation." They were like, "Oh my gosh, it feels like our world is crashing down because now we got to include black people in this shit." So that's the argument, but that's not the case in this conversation. The bottom line is that it's somebody's art, and whatever their imagination is, or wherever their brain is, they're going to create something, an ideal reality for them. And no one should be able to tell them what the fuck to do or with their creation.
No,
it's not like this is not like going to the bathroom. You know what I mean? And you're not allowed to go into my neighborhood. This is literally, I would have created a car that has laser eye beams or whatever the case is. That's all this is. But there's so much gaslighting, as you mentioned earlier, to the nth degree, man. It's strong as fuck gaslighting. You know what I'm saying? And it's making people have to bend the knee and conform to stop the noise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And everybody, you mentioned there was one problem, Stage, where how did you say it again? What's making people do this? You said it was a film-centric society at this point in time, where
Yeah,
they
right.
don't feel
Because
included.
we're a society. Okay, if we live in a society where everything is about you know how do you say it economic goods and
Politics.
no. Well, politics is a big part of a society because it's also tied up in our economics.
Yeah.
But this is why we have Fox News and CNN. There's an actual capitalistic engine behind it, where private corporations are compelled to actually, influence the base of the country. But the main thing is that women in general don't know the type of power that they actually have. Because remember, primarily
I
women
think they starting to understand it.
No, they don't.
No, they
I've
still
seen,
don't.
I've
They
seen
still
a few
don't.
videos. They don't. They
The
don't.
thing is that men understand.
I said starting to understand it.
Yeah, but the thing is that feminists understand it, but economists understand it, and so they're fighting for it. So we live in a country where, the okay, I'll just say it simply. Women are gatherers, okay, and they are generally the ones who choose things
That's
in society.
sexist. That's sexist. How dare you mention the truth?
You bigot.
No, but
bigot.
I mean, it's already a fact. I mean, they're 80% of our consumer.
I used to think that shit too. I used to think that shit too. That things are facts, but then having a penis apparently that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a male. So there's that.
I mean, there are feminine men. That's very true.
No, but that's still men.
Yeah, but feminine men can still relate mentally with women.
Okay. Anybody can relate to anybody, but the thing is, if
not always true.
I said that is always true. Anybody can relate to anybody, and I mean, we're not talking about how deep it is. We're just saying that anybody can relate to anybody. Yes.
Yeah, because it's more complicated than that.
But let me let you finish.
Yeah, it's more of a spectrum. The thing about it is that women make a lot of the consumer decisions, especially even when they're in families. They make the consumer decisions, and if they want to see certain things, if these companies want to survive, they're compelled. Sometimes these companies will manipulate people to stay in business and do anything they can possible. In other ways, capitalism is compelled to actually listen to the consumers so that they can make more money and continue to evolve into whatever that society chooses to be fit for them. So as with the demographic changing in gaming and stuff like that, it's becoming, it's not even really political. It's more of an economical change.
Which is crazy. That's such an annoying thing,
man. Men were, as you said, men back then. It wasn't even most normal men that were playing video games. It was men looked down on video games. They thought they were toys. Remember the Nintendo era. Remember what I told you? Sony separated things from Nintendo, so they turned it into computer entertainment, and so it was relevant technology that people began to see, and then the actual sales of video games grew from 60 million units to over 100 million units. That with the first PlayStation, and Nintendo's market share decreased. It went to let's see, and that was the first generation. You played Tomb Raider, with the Saturn and the PlayStation. So the thing is that as the generations went further, Sony's market share started to grow. It became relevant tech, and it became a major part of general art and society popularity. And with Xbox, it became moving into the actual world, that technology went into online and communication, which gender is more social. It generally tends to be women, but in these male-dominated spaces, it tends not to be such an easy place for them to exist, since they were the minority, and it's slowly growing. But eventually, I do believe that women, generation over generation, I'm postulating that from what I'm seeing, that it's probably going to be generation alpha, that where women start to, that true 50, it's 50-50 split is going to go like 55, and then up, because it's no longer a thing for male nerds, like the people, as you would call it, a marginalized group in society, because that's what they were back then.
So
nerds, it was their play. Nerds, video games, D&D. These things were places of refuge. These things were things of refuge for nerds.
So I'm gonna say this then, right?
Yeah.
See, because to me, Stray was a perfect game.
Yeah.
Because it is also known that women, they don't have the hand-eye coordination of a man, and one of the reasons why is what they're geared to do. You know what I mean? When you add emotion to a situation, it slows you down all the time, 100% of the time. That's why you have people that are autistic. They tend to be very good at something, right?
Yeah,
they are
things that require a lot of focus,
processing.
Like very smart.
Left brain things. Yeah,
and it's okay. So fine, right? But they are emotionally awkward or emotionally unavailable because they don't have to. They're good at mathematics and memory and shit like that because they don't have to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Because the part that's in their brain is underdeveloped for emotion.
Yeah.
So women are highly emotional. That's what we definitely know. And when it comes to driving, they think about all these extra elements that men could tune out because that's how we're designed. There's strengths in what women can do as well. But when it comes to things of that nature, where you have hand-eye coordination, they will always fall behind men. That's because they're not designed for that. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. We're designed to be workhorses. That's how we are designed. So cool.
I mean, even biblically, that was how it was stated. Yeah.
Biblically, but who believes in that?
No, I'm just saying. Even.
But do you wait? Hold on. Wait. Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in the Bible?
I'm agnostic, but I was just making a statement.
No. I'm not shitting on you because I am fully Christian, right? Flawed as hell, but Christian. And I mentioned something about this. There's something innate with women that I could see, even in you got different societies and you have things of that nature, right? Even including the Bible, that it seems like there's something in a woman that makes them want to be more than everything. So look at, and this is going to sound terrible, but it's just this observation. This is not saying that it's true, but I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
So look at Adam and Eve's story, right? Adam was put on the earth to, not control it, but like to have rule over the earth. And then God saw that he, it wasn't good for him to be alone. So he made Eve. Cool, right? Eve was created, and we all know that, right? And she's supposed to be created to help him as a helper, right? That's what the story is. But we all know, right, that when you're messing around in war, right, you go for the weakest all the time, or the most vulnerable. So when she was approached by this entity that they say is a serpent, right, that entity targeted her for some reason. One could deduce that she was the weaker link out of the thing. So she was the easily manipulated, and that still rings true to this day. This is why women sell. This is why they're poor at being put into situations where they could be easily manipulated themselves. That's why a lot of women don't like to be in charge of a situation by default. They could say that they do, but they usually can't make up their mind, or they relinquish decision making to somebody else. It's just easier for them to do it that way. People that have wives or girlfriends will know that she don't want to be in a situation where she can get taken advantage of because she knows her nature, that somebody could paint a picture to her, she'll take it. That's what these corporations have been doing, painting these pictures of women being as strong, as powerful, or better actually than women, to stroke their egos. And I think that the situation when women came along, however the way they came along, was their egos. I think that women have a much bigger ego for whatever reason than men, right? And this is why that was the weakest link in the chain when in the biblical days. That serpent went up to Eve and asked her, what did God say about that tree over there? Or what did he say? She said that we can eat from everything except for that tree over there.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you eat from that tree, you will surely die. You know what that serpent said? No, you will not surely die. But you would actually become like gods. And what did she do? She didn't even question it. She just ate the shit at that point. That was the snake oil salesman situation. And why did she take the apple? Because she wanted to be like God. Same situation now. Same situation. Let me finish.
Okay.
Same situation now.
Yeah.
The same situation of women wanting to be like men for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that they're better or worse.
Yeah,
but
I don't
they
think
just
that's correlated. I don't think that actual part was correlated to men, but yeah.
No. What I'm saying is that wanting to be some whatever they perceive men as being powerful, right? So that's what they want to be. They want to be in spaces. They want to be the center of everything. That's what they typically do. If you leave them to their own devices, just like if you leave a man to their own devices, fear would take over them, and they start doing crazy things. And plus, men are weak to women anyway, in terms of a woman being in place.
Emotionally.
We will literally lose logic when it comes to a man. So that's the balance of.
Yeah.
So that's the balance of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you look at the situation of the Adam and Eve situation, like it was clear that your creator said don't eat it, and then someone else said eat it, and you just ignored your creator and ate it.
You just went with it.
Right. So here's the thing: do you think if the serpent went up to Adam, would he have eaten that apple?
No, he would have known. He would
have just. Men have this. Men have this thing, right? Where if they realize they have this thing with. They have this thing. What's going on, Kwambo? They have this thing where we have a ranking system built in. If we know that somebody is more powerful than us, then we become subservient to it. Mm-hmm. We get it. We're not going to try to fight the system because it's self-preservation. So a bigger entity said, do not eat from that tree. Automatically, there ain't nothing you can do to say I was going to eat from that tree. That serpent knew that he could get to her because her ego. She wanted to be more than a helper. And that's why she ate it anyway. She didn't care about reality. She cared about what she wanted. And she was delusional in that particular regard. Now, because a man is weaker and weak to women, he just ate the apple along with her. But go on.
So have you heard the story about Adam's first wife?
I heard about that, but we can't confirm that.
Well, I mean, it was.
But I don't hear that.
It was never put into the Bible. It was in Jewish lore before that. She was just considered a demoness at some point.
Whoa.
She was a what?
His Adam's first wife became a demoness.
A demonist?
Demoness.
What is that?
A female demon.
Okay.
Oh, I had no idea they were demonettes. What the hell?
Yeah.
You can include that in my story.
Her name is Lilith. So the thing is that like the concept of it goes back as far as like Sumerian texts and stuff like that. And she is considered to be in Jewish culture to be a baby killer. So the thing is that like well, okay. When God had created man and woman, he had created Lilith and Adam out of the clay, out of the ground, essentially. They basically lived and functioned both similarly, functioning. She was obviously female, he was obviously male. But the thing is that one day they, eventually were going to lay down. And Adam said, lay beneath me. And she said, no. And he said, why? And she said, well, because we were both made at the same time. I'm equal to you. And this created an argument. So Lilith became frustrated and left Adam. She fled the Garden of Eden. And Adam complained to God. God sent, I think it was like 3 angels after her. And they found her, and this led to a confrontation outside of the Garden of Eden. And essentially it led to a situation where she was cursed for leaving and not returning. And I believe she lost the ability to produce children. I think that's what it was. And so that's why she went after other people's children.
Oh, okay.
The actual progeny of Adam and Eve later on, but her ability to mother properly was severely messed up, and she became a demoness eventually in Jewish lore. But the general feminist movement knows about Lilith. They will always talk about her. So she's a focal character of a powerful woman that feminists tend to
admire, look up to.
Admire. So exactly. Thanks. So when Eve was made, it was making her out of Adam's rib was kind of like a contingency.
To make sure that she stays. Yeah, I would imagine that she stays.
You were not made equally to him. You were made as a part of him.
Right. So it's a similar. Either way, it's still.
And it's also said that she married Cain. There's some, but it's not like official to the Bible or anything like that. It's just.
But the end result is the same. So the reason why I'm drawing these parallels is because, and maybe I'm drawing this shit all wild and crazy, but the parallel still stays the same.
Yeah.
There's something about a woman's ego that is insatiable. You know what I mean? It's always hungry and is ever consuming. You know what I'm saying? So once unlocked, you get the situation where they need to be at the center of attention. Like back then, they always wanted to be more than what they were, whatever it is, right? If you believe in the Bible, right? And to this day, they still want to be more than what they are. They literally condemn who they are. I've seen stuff on social media, right, where women be like, normalize women using bro. It's always something. They don't like being women. They want to be men for some reason. I always want to know what
don't even know what femininity is. I'm telling you, they don't know what that is.
But I won't even go into that just yet. I'm so like I said, tomorrow I'm gonna do this shit. But like that's what I'm looking at now. It's like they don't like their role, and so they want to be someone else's role. You know what I'm saying? They want to. It's like it's weird because they want to have their cake and eat it. Mm-hmm. So when I see situations like changing, like you can't expect a man, like for the Charlie's Angel situation, you can't expect a man to like something that he doesn't like. You know what I'm saying? Like for you, Stage, right? If a guy walks up to you with a dress on and be like, "Yo, it's good, man. You try to lay up." What would you say to that?
I mean, if he wants to lay up, I mean, what do you mean lay up?
Sex.
No,
right? Because you're not interested in it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's the equivalent of what's happening now. There's something that men are just not interested in. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, I'm just not interested in the situation. You can't make me be interested in something I'm just not interested in. Or I can't relate to. And they're like, you have to be. They shame you into trying to be interested into whatever they want. And has nothing to do with, equal rights. It has something to do with power. I want you to be subservient to what I want. Just because. You know what I'm saying? So we get stuff like if you go into a dating app, right?
Yeah.
And these guys are saying that they're female. and then a woman would come out and be like, "Yo, that's completely misogynistic for you to say, or not misogynistic. It's homophobic and misogynistic for you to say I'm not interested in it." She is a woman. On a flip side, a man decimated their score when it came to swimming, and they're like, shit, I backed myself in the corner.
Oh, you're talking about transgender sports, okay?
Mm-hmm. So now they don't know what to do with the situation. They're like, shit, because at this point in time, it's like they say it when it's convenient for their cause. You know what I'm saying? And then when the second that it's not convenient to them, then they want to backpedal with the situation. I have to talk about that shit tomorrow. So going back to the other pieces of Grand Theft Auto, right?
Okay, can I just add something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
I saw a tweet months ago. Someone said, "Hey, that story between Adam and Eve eating the apple is fishy." I think Adam did something. I swear, I saw that tweet. I was like, "Oh, come on! What did he do? He didn't."
I mean, you can't. One side of the fence, they say don't believe in God. On the other side of the fence, they say that I'm a Christian woman. On the other side of the fence, too, it's weird. I don't know, man. It's a whole bunch of contradiction, yo. Yeah. So it's hard for me to really. Yo, Ronan, what's going on, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Ronan Ghost, RG.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Now I can.
All right. I was just gonna say I don't have that long to be on here because I'm about to I'm not about to, but I'm currently watching WWE SummerSlam 2022.
Same here.
Wait, who said that?
Same here.
Dude, I'm fucking oh my god, I'm marked out for that first hour. Holy shit. Well, not first hour, but first 30 minutes. But yeah, so real quick about the GTA 6 thing, man. To those people that say Rockstar Games is getting too woke, I want to remind those that GTA 5 had an openly queer, gender non-conforming, cross-dressing, immigrant, pro-environment, anti-cop protagonist, and none of them cared. So they need to get the fuck over it.
Do you know why they say that it's woke?
Well, yeah, like they said it was woke because there was possibly going to be like a female protagonist.
No,
that's not it at all. And that's this. Yeah. I love how the internet just takes something and spreads the shit. It's so annoying, and it's no fault to you, Ronan. It gets spread around. So I'm an advocate of free expression. The problem with woke shit is that they retcon things, they take things, they remix shit, and it's not at a genuine clip. You know what I'm saying? It's not genuine.
It's not authentic.
It's not an authentic change. Yes, we had all of this, but Trevor was created because they had freedom to do that. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it was a parody. But now all of this shit is going to be. All this shit is going to be walked back, right?
Oh, my earbuds
because people.
are dying.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that. All right, man. Thanks for your input. All I'm saying when it comes to this shit, right, is that they're not going to be able to do the things that they want to do. Yeah. They're going to have to add things where they normally wouldn't. They didn't feel like they needed to add it. That's the biggest fucking problem when it comes to this. It's not a female character. No one cares about the female character. I promise you. If no one of any kind of measurement cares.
Yeah, some people.
Plus, Bloomberg is wrong in that article saying that it's the first time that you'll be able to play as a female protagonist in GTA game, because in GTA 2, in one of the character selections, you can play as a female in there.
But here's the thing: no one had a problem. See, this is why I say that everything is getting worse. Because back then, no one really had a problem with a lot of this shit. So why now, all of a sudden, it's perceived that everybody has a problem with female protagonists when we didn't give a fuck about that shit in the past?
In the media,
you know what I mean? I find it weird. I find it weird to do that shit.
Gamers bad all the time. Any reason they have to get clicks. Oh, gamers are bad because they're sexist and they don't want to. They're feeding into it. We're not actually. Look, they always feed into that stuff. Always think, gamers don't want a female character. No, we don't have an issue with it. It's when, for example, you're saying, oh, we can't have a male character because you need to have a female character just cause. What? No.
Hey, real quick, sorry to cut you off. Can one of you guys follow me back? Because I can barely hear you guys in the Twitter space.
Yeah.
I joined this Twitter space through Chris Righteous leaving a like.
Okay. But yeah, like we don't have an issue with it.
Be right back.
If I play, I've played as female characters across many games. I don't have an issue with it. You know, I don't. Why would we have an issue with it? There's no issue with it. But it's when
yeah, I can follow you back for sure. My bad. I was muted. I was sitting there talking the whole time. And I will say this: I don't have a problem. Because I don't know why I could hear you guys. Let me see here. Hold on. Oop. I'm just loud as shit. That's all it is. But I gotta fucking cut myself. But here's the thing: like, I don't have a problem. I mean, well, no one really gives a fuck about the female or male shit. I feel like everything is worse. I feel like we were making so much progress, man, and then all of a sudden, man, to piggyback off of what you said, Stage, what this is all about, it's not only just the corporations doing what they're doing to try to, you know, kind of appease these people. It really boils down to victimhood. Everyone wants to be a victim nowadays, so they scour the internet looking for something to complain about because there's, you know, no one has anything to complain about apparently.
And news articles feed into that. They always make gamers bad
because it's clicks. It's free. It's free views and shit like that. So there's the thing. I just don't like the fact that if Rockstar can't joke the way that they used to joke, which is making fun of everything under the sun, I don't want it. Period.
Like they should be like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle makes jokes about everybody, but
the thing is,
they feel like we can't be joked about. Like, bro, he jokes about everybody, even black people. Like, he touches
even his own self.
Yes,
he jokes about himself, and that's one of the good things. One of the best things about him as a comedian is that they get mad because they can't really fight what he was saying. But like, this is all about being the victim. You know what I mean? For no reason, because it feels good to be a victim. You know, it feels great to be a victim because people care about you and people engage with you. That's all that. That's that's the other problem to the situation. The biggest problem is not that there's a male protagonist. I wanted to kind of sit that out there and have people kind of think about what this possibly could be.
I'm all for it, actually. Bonnie and Clyde.
But I already know it's not though. Like I know within my heart of hearts it won't be. You know, that's just what it is. I know it won't be because did I follow him? I swear I did. Shit.
Yeah, I followed him. He
in my heart, I guess I seen him around, but I didn't. I guess I didn't follow him. In my heart of hearts, I already know what the fucking system is. I already know what it is. The situation is clearly, you know, they're going to have to compromise their views and what they want to do because of this. It's just what it's going to boil down to. That's what people are afraid of. Because people, it's like, if you're going to be a marginalized group, you got to take that L as well.
Yeah. They don't want
you can't just laugh at everybody. So I guarantee you, if you made fun of men, they will be laughing. Oh my God, it's so funny. That is true. My husband is a fucking idiot. He don't know what the fuck he's doing. And then second, you say something about them, I'm offended. Same thing with the LGBT. You say stuff about straight people and how they're like, oh, they always want sex all the time, or they always do this. They've been doing this for hundreds of years and they oppress people. Oh my God, you're so right. Second, you say something bad about their marginalized group, then they're like, oh, I'm offended. You can't have your cake and eat it, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna move to the next topic and be done with this shit, right? Sony do better. This is all Stage block shit, yo, because he likes statistics. Stage, did you see did you see the sales numbers
for
the fiscal quarter of Sony?
Fiscal quarter. Oh. I think he's watching that thing.
Stage, you there? Yeah, he checked out for a little bit. He's away from keyboard. So I'll say this, right? Let me see here. It's social media outside of that. No one cares. Yeah, that's just true combo. I'm going to pull it up in terms of the sales, right? And this is what I wanted to kind of talk about as well. Let me make sure I got my shit. Nope, that's GTA going woke. I don't need that one.
I really hope they do. I think, you know what? I want to give them a chance because they haven't disappointed me yet, you know?
The people that aren't...
Their games so far have been good, but there's also this thing where it's like, you know, they only need that one time to disappoint you, you know?
The problem here, right, is when it comes to Grand Theft Auto, I mean, when it comes to those people that made the old Grand Theft Auto, they're not there anymore. And some of them checked out because they felt like the way that they were doing things were going to be compromised. That's what they said. Oh, you know, dear. So they were like, yeah, I'm going to check out. They did this. They left when Red Dead Redemption was made.
Oh, no.
So I don't have any faith in it. They were also talking about a Bible for Grand Theft Auto to let you know, like, you know, they already know how to make a Grand Theft Auto game. And the same thing was said about Halo, and look how that turned out. So there's that.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, dear.
So not a fan of as to what they're claiming.
But this is the thing. It's reached every industry, man. Like comics, movies, TV shows, everywhere. Every time a company builds it, or a brand or an IP builds itself on something, and suddenly they make this switch, they start to fall off.
Because they do not want to be blasted. They don't want to be blasted by these marginalized naggers. You know?
Yeah.
They don't want to be nagged to death. Is really what it boils down to. They're like, if I do this shit, people are going to be like nagging consistently until we succumb to it. So
one of the only industries I see like still like fighting back a bit would be anime.
They don't give a fuck because they have to tend to their own demographic.
Exactly. Which is what I really like about them, you know? The Japanese always laugh at the people on Twitter who complain about stuff. They're like, well, look at these idiots complaining about a character having a darker skin, you know? Just that one time for no reason.
Well, I mean, it shows with the money that they make with the manga.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can get mad all day and all night, but the manga is way outselling the comics.
Yep.
So going over to the sales, this is what was interesting to me. I'm just looking for the sales here. For one, they said they want to increase the supply of the PS5, which is delicious.
Honestly, they should, because bots keep buying them. I've been trying to buy one for a while.
You don't have one yet?
No, I'm planning on getting one maybe sometime next month once I get my paycheck.
Okay, Block. I see you. Okay. So there was some stuff that was going on online that, you know, there was a whole bunch of Sony ponies that were making fun of the sales of the Xbox, right? Yeah. They said the sales plummeted. Or at least their profits, right? And all the ponies came out saying that's what you get. This is what it is. I thought Game Pass was blah 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 blah. Which I'm not an advocate of either side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't like any of that shit, yo. It's corny. Get the fuck over it. You guys are too fucking old.
Yeah.
To be doing shit like that. You know, it's so fucking corny. Even PC master rates, you know what I mean? They talking about the 40, 70 or 48 or whatever fucking number they got going on. And they're like, it's going to blow console shit out the water. I'm like, I don't think you understand the demographic of console players. They don't give a fuck about that shit the way you think that they give a fuck about it. All they want is a decent experience, man, that looks good. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much it. Now, they did stumble a bit when Sony started putting their shit to PC because they're like, well, it kind of makes me feel like, what's the point of having a console? What the fucking point is the cost. That's what it is. So, you know, there's that. But then word came out about Sony in their fiscal year. In their fiscal year, it's okay. It's okay. I'm trying to find the numbers. I've been trying to find the numbers the whole time. So let me see here. I got to go to this Raggedy Reset Air website. You know what I'm saying? And I don't necessarily like going over here, but I think I could pull up the numbers here. That's the studios, Prince of Persia. Get the fuck out. PlayStation 5, the Multiverse, Soul Hackers. The fuck? Xenosaga. Grand Theft Auto. We don't want to talk about that shit anymore. I'm so glad I actually uh I'm so glad I actually spoke about that shit.
I know for a fact if the game comes out and it's like cyberpunk in any way, shape, or form.
What's wrong with Cyberpunk?
No, Cyberpunk 2077. The game, I like it honestly. I like the story. I think they should go deeper into the story. The gameplay, it's okay, but if they add more features, it would be awesome. But it's just that it had a bad start, you know?
Well, the thing is, uh, it wasn't finished, and it's something that they've never done before. So I found it. Wait, let me make sure. Okay, July 29th. Okay, so I'll read this shit out to anybody that needs this shit to be read out, right? At the end of the fiscal year in May, Sony was fairly bullish about the game sales, predicting that the sales of the 18 million PS5 for 2022 after selling 11.5 million in 2021. So they were basically expecting about 7 million more. The company also expected a significant revenue increase in its gaming division over 2021 due to the boost across all categories. In its latest earnings drop, however, the company has revised its profit forecast down by 16% from the $2.3 billion in May to $1.9 billion. So I don't know, 500,000 maybe. 500 million, excuse me, due to the expected decline in sales and first-party titles. So the company also chalked up the drop in revenue to higher expense due to acquisition from Bungie. So they're already telling you out the gate, right, that the reason why it dropped the way that it did was surely because they bought something huge, right? And it still was able to sell very close to what they predicted. Sony didn't say anything about the PS5 console forecast, but it sells 2.4 million units this quarter compared to the 2.3 in the same quarter last year, which was they sold better. That brings the PS5 to 21.7 units to this date, 21.7 million units to this date. That means it must sell over 5 million units on average for the next 3 quarters to meet its May forecast. Something it has never done before. In May, however, Sony said that it will finally be able to ramp up production to meet the PS5 demands as the supply chain issues ease. Though it stands now that the consoles are still in short supply. On the software side of things also went south as Sony sold just 47.1 million titles, including the 6.4 million first-party games. And this is in the quarter from April to June, right? So let me put that out there. Now, a lot of Xbox really was they were really clapping for joy here. They were loving it. They were eating this shit up, and the reason why they were eating this shit up was because the ponies were making fun of Sony. Microsoft for a drastic fucking reduction of their everything across the board. Like I'm not talking about a couple of percent. I'm talking about like 20 to 30% like drops. And it's because they're not making any games for people to consume. So there's that. Not that they're bad games. They're just not making any games. You know what I'm saying? And everything was delayed to.
Yeah, that's what happens. You gotta stay consistent. But it's hard to hit the jackpot every time, you know?
Not bad. This shit is acting up. Okay. There we go. All right, cool. So there's that, right? I mean, let me find out where I was at too. He said he's charging his headset. That's where stage is at right now. All right, cool. So he's on mute or whatever. Where is it? Where am I at now? Okay. compared to the 63.6 million titles and 10.5 million first party games in that same quarter. So it is understood that Gran Turismo and Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West probably sold about 5 million apiece. You know, so that's already known, right? Cool. We got that shit. But then this next quarter, they probably sold an additional 3 million. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're both at around 8 million apiece, which is pretty damn good, especially since Sony had a lot to deal with Elden Ring coming out near Horizon, right? And fucking up the sales in that particular regard, right? You had that situation. And then you had the fucking debacle with the fucking microtransactions that everybody wanted to be a fucking concern whore with, you know? Oh my God, I can't believe I gotta spend money on a game. How about you play the game and win it? How about you do that?
You really don't have to. You just play the game.
You just play the game and just you don't need to spend a lot of time either, but it was the cool thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. On top of that, the PlayStation Plus users dropped slightly in Q4 from 47.3 instead of 47.4. And its active users dropped from 106 to 102 million. Sony introduced a higher priced PlayStation Extra and Premium tiers in June, but has yet to reveal the impact. Where is it? The impact of those. So here's the thing, right? They are expecting God of War Ragnarok to do extreme numbers and to push PlayStation 5s and just people buying PlayStation Plus with this PlayStation tier. I'm pretty sure they're going to actually have God of War Ragnarok to the point where, you know, you'll be able to test drive that shit with the PlayStation Premium without buying the whole game.
Okay.
You know, maybe like an hour. That's what I believe that they're going to do to boost these numbers.
Yeah.
For all the people that don't really want to play the game or buy the game because it's $70 supposedly, I guess that's the situation, right?
But so the hype around it is gonna be humongous. TikTok, Twitter, everywhere. It's gonna be posted everywhere. I know for a fact.
It's going to be astronomical. Astronomical.
Because people been waiting for that game. They've been waiting to know what happens to Kratos and what's his name, Atreus.
So that's what I believe. That people want to know, and this is what happens when you create a game that respects everybody and their fan base.
Yep.
As long as they don't fuck it up by doing something out of character, like supposedly Grand Theft Auto, this game is going to do. They're going to have to bend the knee to the people that actually like the fucking game, that likes the series. Like, let's be honest about it. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. That's why, like I said before, those who do not change their foundations or do not insult their customers like Marvel or DC, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book, you know, they're gonna be fine. They're gonna last a long time. Their numbers aren't gonna always fluctuate out of nowhere because they pander to a certain group that wasn't the original group to whom they pandered to. But
some of these groups just want to just take over, and there's no real reason as to why they want to take over. You know what I'm saying?
They just latch on to anything that's been. It's like you tell them, okay, then create your own stuff. Oh, you're just trying to gatekeep. You can't gatekeep someone. You can't. Oh my God! I wish I could, honestly, because a lot of these things are being annihilated. IPs, for example, like the Lord of the Rings, they're not following the continuity. Their fans are calling them out for it, and they're still calling fans bad or other things. You know, they're not respecting their fans. That's why that show isn't gonna be good. It's not gonna last long, and it's a prime example of what not to do. When you build something with an audience, be loyal to that audience, and they'll be loyal back to you. If you're not loyal to your audience, they're not gonna be loyal towards you. And when shit gets tough, the people who they're pandering to, they don't really have that kind of money. Not gonna lie, Marvel and DC have like proved it in terms of their comics. They don't. These people who they pander to, they don't buy their comics. They really don't.
And that's the thing. It's crazy that you got, even if they did buy it, it's such a marginalized group that it doesn't really tick the meter when it comes to sales. You know, even if you know what I'm saying, all you're gonna do is piss off the people. Like, okay, I'll put it to you like this, because people, let me see, not one platform. I think, let me see here. What did he say? Y'all PlayStation guys always talking about performance and sales figures. We 2 years into the new year, give that shit a rest. Oh yes, we're gonna retweet that shit, man, for sure. I'm so sick of that shit. Actually, I'm gonna put. Damn it, I can't even put this shit where I wanted to put it. That's why I kind of changed my shit up here. So I'm like, I'm kind of over. You know what I'm saying? I'm over this shit. And people are going to be upset about what I'm going to say. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people that was upset about what I said before. Oh well, man. Oh the fuck well.
I'll be right back. That's gotta go say goodbye to some guests.
Oh sure. All right, cool. All right. So one thing you got to understand too, that when it comes to PlayStation, right? When it comes to PlayStation, you gotta understand this situation, right? Or this year, if you want to talk about sales, uh, they got a lot of shit going for them. Like a lot of shit going for them. But in terms of the numbers that you see floating around, every game is going to do really, really well for the first month and then drop off significantly. It is very rare that it lasts that long, for sure. It is very rare. And that's okay. You know, you got to understand that that's just the nature of the beast. And people are saying that, oh, you're looking at bundles and shit like that, and that's fine. You know what I mean? We don't know how the bundles are actually. Okay, I'm just reading here. Apparently, the PlayStation 4 sales stopped at 117 million units. That's interesting. They're about to stop selling that shit. So there's that. What's going on here? Okay, that's muted here. Sorry about that. If you guys are looking at it on YouTube, I'm just looking at you. You really got to see the whole YouTube situation, yo. It's pretty nice here. So there's that. Okay. Nonsense. Damn, rough. So that's what I'm seeing here, yo. So I'm seeing here to this level here that people are complaining about Horizon Forbidden West not doing well, right? And Gran Turismo not doing well. And here's the situation. Here's where you want to break this shit down. Gran Turismo has dealt with a lot. I mean, they had so many people that review bombed that shit to the point where it was like literally fucking a 1 out of whatever, a 0.1 or some shit like that. It was really bad because everybody was talking about how egregious, right? For the situation, you know, for the game, and it hurt the sales. I'm pretty sure. Also, you know, Horizon Forbidden West and how it was near Elden Ring, that hurt it too. But some people are actually coming out here and they're like, well, is it supposed? I feel like Sony is supposed to be better, or where you know. That's just interesting. To hold on for a minute. Okay, cool. Just making sure that I'm not being chopped up here. But it's funny though. People think that Sony should be doing better, you know, compared to something like Nintendo. So that's the situation, right? They think that their games are supposed to be selling 30 million, and I'm like, well, the problem with Nintendo versus Sony is because their IPs are like 30 years old, and Sony's is like 8 or 9 sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's a lot of legacy there. you know, and that's what God of War sold as well as it did, because it's an older IP that people are kind of are synonymous with, you know. And Sony typically make characters that are not, you know, user friendly, not user friendly, but people like consumer friendly. You know, you got Kratos killing people and shit like that. That's a certain look. You have Ellie that looks like a regular chick. You know what I'm saying? Aloy is the only one that kind of is a stylized thing, but then like she's based in reality, so she's supposed to be getting older and shit like that. And whereas Nintendo's characters, they are ageless. You know what I mean? They stay a certain age, like Mickey Mouse and shit like that. That's a problem. So it's just funny to me how people really believe that Sony is supposed to be at a better spot where their games are supposed to. What in the hell? Sony is supposed to be at a place where they're supposed to be selling 30 million for all the IPs that they had, which is interesting, right? So you gotta think about that shit. You gotta really think about it. It's an interesting thing to think about in terms of Sony and what they're doing. So what the hell? I'm sorry. I'm just looking at. Mm-mm-mm. Damn. You like I said, you guys gotta see. You guys gotta see what this shit look like. This shit look crazy online, man. Oh man, I'm gonna retweet this shit, yo. That's terrible. See what that shit says at the end of the show. And no one's speaking. I guess that's pretty much it. I don't have anything I was gonna say, man. So I guess before I end the conversation here, I think I've already drained my fucking battery in this case.
Okay.
What do you got to say about? I wanted to ask you a very simple question, right?
Yeah.
Because Nintendo has been out for a very long time in terms of the gaming space, and Sony has been out not as long, but their IPs especially not as long, right?
Yep.
So in this particular case, people are saying that with the sales and everything like that, that Sony should be doing better. You know what I'm saying? So they think that
the Wii, the Switch, and all that. Their
no,
games.
I'm talking about like God of War and The Last of Us and Horizon doing 8 million with a user base that high. They're saying what's up with that? How come it's not doing better?
I don't know. Like between the games of Sony and Nintendo. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, compared to Sony and Nintendo.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey,
I hear
sorry.
you.
Yeah, it's not fully charged, but just wanted to. Yeah, I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. Okay, so the sales of Sony, I didn't actually see the actual numbers, but I did hear that there was an actual drop and fall off, and this is supposed to be their first fiscal year, correct? So
I'm not sure what part of it is.
Yeah, so I think
April
is their first the first month of their fiscal year. So technically, we can't. What's included? The first quarter of the fiscal year is from April, May, June, July, right? April, May, June. So basically, those three months were not even the primary months that Horizon was at its peak in sales. So to actually allude to that is stupidity. That's just one thing. They're 2 months off. So Forbidden West came out in February, which was the end of the last fiscal year. So to talk about GT has nothing. It has nothing to do with any of this. Like, it's an irrelevant conversation. It's a relevant argument. They're all idiots, and this is why economics and some of these dudes don't mix like at all. So,
when did GT come? What period was GT? I know it was on March 4th, but what quarter was that?
That was
oh, that was last quarter. Still,
that was the last quarter of the fiscal year.
Yeah. Okay.
That
was the last month of the quarter.
Yeah, that was the 2001. The fiscal year of 2001.
21. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's completely irrelevant to the whole conversation. The Sony guys who were talking about Microsoft didn't understand that the actual industry itself was going through a low period and of the new fiscal year. Same thing with the Xbox gamers. But then again, a lot of these Xbox gamers don't even know anything about economics to begin with. It's at all. So it's Game Pass is doing, it's doing fair numbers. Xbox is doing as well as it can. Sony is doing as well as it can. But the industry is just going through a very rough period of time. The only company that's really going through it like kind of unscathed is Nintendo, because they're selling high numbers even at in a bad period where there are shortages. So I mean, Sony's not selling what they should, and they still made it to 21 million units by what it was by the end of the first fiscal year, right? So that's July. Okay, yeah, the first quarter of the first fiscal year. So of the new fiscal year. So that would mean I think around this time they were probably 4 million consoles behind the PS4. When it came to the April, the first month of the fiscal year, it's not that far behind. This is something that they can make up, but there's going to have to be something that actually compels people to start buying game. Now, is there this is all being affected by the pandemic, all of it. And then there's, I guess, the whole thing with Sony and Microsoft selling similar numbers on the NPD. Okay, that's obvious. Sony and Microsoft, ever since the 360 era, have basically shared America, because the majority of the Xbox 360 fan base came from the PS2 to begin with. So they kind of offshooted to Xbox, because the original Xbox fan base was about 25 million. Was at about 25 million units, 24 million units for the first Xbox. They didn't get past 25 million until the 360 generation. So then they only sold 1 million units. Slightly above 1 million units in Japan. So the thing with North America is really carrying Xbox, as opposed to there's other countries like Australia, but they still don't buy things in adequate amounts to be considered significant. Like the UK charts, the NPD, or the Japanese charts.
Right.
So where Sony is concerned is that they need to focus on the rest of the world if it's going to be this close between them in America, as they always have. And I think that's a big part that a lot of people are missing when they're talking about these companies. It's just they don't know where the actual territories where these companies are actually strongest. They don't know anything about quarters, because generally, if you're talking about quarters, you would normally talk about it like January, February, March. Okay, that's the first quarter. But not every company has a fiscal year that's, as general as just doing it like that. Sony starts after the fourth month, so so that's basically their fiscal year when it starts after March. So, which would normally be second quarter.
Also, all of the tech companies already mentioned that they were going to go through a fall in sales, because people are, A, summer is not a good time for sales anyway, because people are vacationing. B, people are literally like just coming out because of the COVID situation,
Exactly.
you know? So like they already anticipated that the sales were going to drop.
Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't anything new. Drop now. How much is it going to drop is a question. Like I feel like Microsoft did take a hit because it's not that no one wants it. It's the fact that they just haven't released any games.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Xbox is notorious for still selling well during the Phil Spencer era, regardless of having exclusives or not.
Right, because people know that they're getting their third-party fix.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. The third parties are the main drivers of these consoles to begin with, and the exclusives make them far and away more competitive because they actually have an identity factor. Xbox lacks that, which is why they can't really catch up to Sony in sales from time to time. And these sales are generally incremental. Which is why Sony in the PS3 era was basically slowly steamrolling Microsoft every month in a year, and they could only win like 1 or 2 months out of the year. And that's how they caught up to them before the end of the generation. So
you also got to look at like Sony had to push because they weren't known for their IPs to PS3 and at the end of PS3 at that, you know what I'm saying? So that was one of the issues there that they need to literally Sony really tried to do it, and that's what I'm saying. So my question to you before we close shop here is literally this, right? People think that Sony should have been able to do better. You know what I'm saying?
Stupidity. You can't.
They're like, how come Nintendo can do 30 million sales, right?
They're selling a handheld that has a lot of third-party software coming to it, and as well as first-party content coming to it. And remember, Nintendo runs Japan, dude. They run Japan. So if they fall off elsewhere in the world, which they're not,
that's it for them.
Yeah,
but they did.
You just said
if you delete Japan, that's it for Nintendo altogether.
Yeah, well, yeah,
it's not. I don't think it's sustainable.
No, they're still selling well in NPDs as well in other parts of the world. But the thing is that Nintendo, the thing is that their product is selling well with the teen adult demographic still, even as well as children. So the thing is that you just remember how you said that people aren't staying in as much during the pandemic. I mean, post pandemic. Well, guess what? The Switch you can take with you. So that's the thing. A big thing in the Japanese market right now. You can take these things around with you because these people don't have the time to spend at home. And that's another big factor of why mobile. These companies have to start investing more in mobile, and Xbox is doing the cloud, Sony's doing the cloud, but Nintendo still keeps it to heart the normal hardware. If the question is why is there a viable argument to be made for Sony to actually make a handheld at this point? Well,
not even just a handheld. The situation is
because they're doing streaming.
How did they put it?
Yeah, but they're doing streaming as well.
Well, they're doing streaming. Yeah. They're doing streaming, but I'm in that industry in terms of the cable business, and I'm gonna tell you right now, streaming is just not a viable option everywhere. I already know that. But the thing is, if you look at the Switch as a home console, right? Mm. If you look at it like a home console, people are saying that Sony should be, they should be up there with 30 million units a piece. And I was saying when you were offline, Sony's games are not mass appeal. Can't give it to kids. You know what I'm saying? And their characters are based in reality where they age. Mm-hmm. So they don't always look like Mario for 3 decades. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They get older and they get replaced. That's just the way that Sony did things because they want, they're a multimedia company. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They're not trying to make a Disney World or something like that. So,
more of a universal.
That's the thing.
Studios,
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? That's the big thing that I'm seeing here, as the people are expecting Sony to do 30 million a piece for their games without bundles and shit like that. They're like, oh, Nintendo could, Nintendo don't need a bundle. You know what I'm saying?
That's stupidity, because the thing is that, okay, if there was no pandemic, chances are that probably would have happened. Yes. Now, but the problem is that people are not, they'll give Microsoft every excuse under the sun, and everybody with a bias is basically including their bias in their argument. Because really and truly, they do not want these companies to do well if it comes at the expense of the company that they follow, that they identify with psychologically.
Right?
Because that's really what this is about: identification. I prefer Sony, but I don't identify with Sony in that way. If Sony doesn't give me what I want, I go up. But I always prefer what they offer to Microsoft. But well, not always, as long as they do what they're supposed to. But the thing is that, like, with a lot of these companies, man, like, Mother Nature is a force that we can to some degree forecast, but not always. And this situation happened the way it happened, and we have to deal with it. It's just how it's how it's going to work. We don't know whether this generation is going to go, last longer. It just might. We might have to do a refresh and keep this generation going for until 2000. So it started in 2020. So yeah, we might have to have this generation continue an extra year, probably to 2028. And have a mid-gen refresh and just make sure that people can afford whatever technology is being used to keep the progression going. But at the same time, actually, now that I'm saying that, we will hold back PC, because PC will already have replaced the 30 series by that time. So yeah. That makes it that's another big problem right there. And AMD will already have new chipsets and graphic cards and stuff like that have already been made, that are ready to go. And I think that there would have to be another generation. So I mean, yeah, they're gonna have to salvage this generation in whatever way they can. I mean, saying forever, they're gonna have to have this mid-gen refresh, because these PC parts are just coming too fast. Even though this pandemic has happened, it's like these companies don't stop. Like they don't stop. These PC companies don't stop because they survive on selling parts. So it's like it's tough. It's tough, man.
But I always thought that shit, yo. Like, it's so stupid that people literally believe that Sony is supposed to be doing Nintendo's numbers. Like,
no,
their numbers are totally fucking different.
They're not paying attention, because the reason why it's another thing is that, like, the parts are very different, and the accessibility of those parts is different as well. The tech that Sony's using is miles apart from what's going on with Nintendo right now. Nintendo is using very old.
So it don't cost that much money, A, to make the Switch. B, their games are not costing that much money. They don't even have fucking voice actors 9 times out of 10. You know what I'm saying? So, where their games could be 50, 25 or 20 million, Sony's is like literally like fucking 200, 300 million. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have mass appeal either. It's not like a cute thing that you can give to anybody. You know what I mean? And you mentioned that females are playing games more so than anybody else, right? Excuse me. There's more female players coming into than they ever have, and one of the reasons, like, games like Stray and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, not everybody can relate to fucking Kratos or whatever the case is. It's just what it is. People are getting mad.
They're always going to look for something. It's a walking simulator. And then when Microsoft does the exact same thing, they will tell Microsoft that they were brilliant. That it's just how it goes. Remember, these people identify with these companies, so you're not going to get a rational response from them.
Well, that's the thing. They want it to be like, they want Sony to be Sony. I mean, they want Xbox to be Sony, but without the PlayStation name.
Exactly.
Like if they could just erase PlayStation and Sony and just put Microsoft and Xbox,
they do like the things that Xbox offers. The problem with Xbox is that Xbox does not really excel at anything in the way of identity. They have to take their identity from other people. So if you actually ask the Xbox fans, what is it that makes Xbox Xbox? They will talk to you about Forza. They'll talk to you about Halo. But, look at what's happening in Halo. If Xbox knew what to do with Halo, there wouldn't be a problem right now. If Xbox was confident with Halo, there wouldn't be the problems that are happening right now. So, look at Gears of War. They had to buy Gears of War. Could they make Gears of War on their own? No. They had to literally buy the team. Like they had to buy the IP and get everybody to come over there. And they had to form a team around the intellectual property after they bought it. And this is the dissonance that Xbox gamers face. It's the biggest problem. In traditional gaming, companies have always prided themselves in being able to make their own games and align themselves with companies who could for the longest period of time until Microsoft got there. And then what Microsoft did was they flipped the script. It was pure capitalism. It was essentially just buy everybody's shit. It was no longer about priding yourself in being artistically unique. And it's about trends. It's about pure capitalism, marketing, PR. These are things that Microsoft excels at compared to Sony. And Sony dedicated themselves to becoming, the pinnacle of single player linear action games. So, that's what set them apart in the PS3 era as opposed to the PS2 era where they depended too much on third party, and they learned a lot from third party as well, which Hideo Kojima and stuff like that. God of War became that cinematic experience that set itself apart from Devil May Cry, Onimusha, all those games and the like. Capcom and Sony were very similar in that way, making these cinematic action games. So I mean, but Sony just went turn it up to 11 and left them in the dust. That's really what ended up happening.
Well, Sony, and I'll say this before we close up. Sony has always been the whole cinematic. They've always been cinematic. You know what I mean? All the way from they wanted 3D environments and shit like that, and to be cinematic anyway. I mean, you can look at Tomb Raider, the old Tomb Raiders and shit like that, where they had the cinematic camera and all that other good shit. So, I mean, they've always been doing it. This is their DNA to making cinematic, experiences. So that's definitely neither here or there, for sure. But listen, I'm gonna call this shit a day. I am getting burnt the fuck out. I'm kind of disappointed.
Why?
There's other spaces that's going on right now, right? And it kind of makes me want to just stick to Discord right now and not actually do spaces for the gaming portion.
Why?
They're too fickle and they're too toxic.
Okay,
but they're too toxic.
Okay, so, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know how I feel. I got to do a coin toss and shit like that because I'm doing both. I'm doing
Why
both
don't
at
you
the same
just focus
time.
on
But like
YouTube
these
and get people to go over there?
I am on YouTube right now. We're streaming right now.
Primarily on YouTube, dude. I know you're simulcasting, but I'm saying focus primarily on YouTube. How would you
do it? You told me. I'm not even being an asshole. I'm literally asking.
I can understand exactly what you're saying. Like, I mean, dedicate primarily the majority of that time to marketing yourself on YouTube. Just primarily using Twitter as a marketing tool, essentially.
Got you.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
It's the same thing I tried to tell Enter Cheat Code. Enter Cheat Code was doing a ton of spaces, but yet he had so many good videos that he could put up on YouTube. I told him if he channeled all of his energy,
he wasn't doing.
Yeah, he was splitting your energy. Like I told him if he would stop splitting his energy into to Twitter and focus on YouTube, he would have had 2,000 followers by now on YouTube. But he channeled it all into Twitter. So he grew his following on Twitter, and his Twitter following is larger than his YouTube now. So it's like
and they don't want to translate either. They don't want to go over there. They typically don't.
And now that we have spaces, it's literally cannibalizing the YouTube base that you could be growing.
Now I will, for my illicit therapy shit, that will be on Twitter, so I can get a following in that particular regard. But I'm gonna do that shit, yo.
Yeah, just use Twitter as a marketing tool. Just put your thoughts there. Tell people to go over, if they want to see things, go over here. That's pretty much how it's gonna have to be. Like, and if you want to make a space, you can make a little side space and do that. To make yourself known, to market yourself on Twitter every once in a while. But the primary focus has to be exactly where you truly need to grow.
I like that. Well, thanks for the input. Yo, thank you for coming out there. Man. Please don't take any offense of how rough I can be in terms of how I talk.
No, I debate.
That's just how it is.
Worse. Trust me.
I try to keep it, what it is, but that's just how I am. And there's some improvement, but there's still going to be like a core, personality trait thing there. So for sure. You listen, guys, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for supporting the first episode. Cause I'll say this, Block. Other people have spaces right now, and the only spaces that they care about are the spaces that is drama written, and I'm trying to filter that shit out.
And that's what makes it hard. You can't, if you're not an overly dramatic.
They go in there. They're going there and they're like, no. And I'm looking here, and I'll get people that do like for like and shit like that, whatever the case is. And I think I just need to flat out. I'm not trying to do all that shit. I don't mind it. It doesn't insult me. But right now, I got 5 people so far that's been watching my shit the whole fucking time for 2 hours and 30 minutes. Like, that says something to me. That says that people at least like the particular commentary. Now, what I'll do for sure is I will, for the illicit therapy, I kind of want women to be able to jump in. And actually, I may fuck around and just do Instagram.
Okay.
I may do Instagram in this particular regard.
And how will that filter into illicit therapy and your gaming?
What do you mean?
Like, how would that filter from Instagram and translate to your YouTube? Because remember, you have to get people. It's still about getting people.
Instagram Instagram is not being recorded, so my whole situation is to find. Well, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter because ultimately, Twitter's Twitter. They have a lot of female users there too, but Instagram is definitely female. Female definitely. Situations. So I think in this particular regard, because of what I'm trying to do, probably needs to be on Instagram, and then Instagram doesn't record videos, so I think that's probably what's going to happen. I got to find a way to do Instagram Live and then do it that way. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna start. People that want to join the conversation, they can join the Discord, and that's how that's going to be.
Yeah, send out the link, and just let me know. But yeah, it was good to hear you. Just gonna watch the rest of SummerSlam.